what you're about to do is going to be very, very hard. The whole game, and I love in a lot of the real estate community, the people that are sitting on the beach that have the fancy cars and they're talking about, I have all this passive income.
Yeah, passive income. Well, passive income is such a real thing, right?
It is. It can come. It can come, but it comes after a lot of really, really hard and important work.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Scalers Only podcast show with my man Brian Keenan, Abhishek Bobby Barua, and we have special guest Jason Duff from Small Nation. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Terry. Great to be here, guys.
Yeah. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I want to tell you, I walked in tonight, first off, your studio here in beautiful downtown Columbus, and not only my favorite song was playing when I walked in the studio, so nice work on the personalization with that, and then my choice in beverage. So, I'm caffeinated, I'm excited, I'm really pumped to talk with you guys today.
Love it. So, funny story how I know Jason. We went to the same college together. And
which was?
Ohio Northern.
We're polar bears.
Polar bears. You guys have the best mascot.
So you can confirm that Terry went to college.
He was
the
there.
mascot. Yeah.
He was physically there. Don't know much about.
I never saw him in class. It's weird.
Yeah. I graduated though. I got my diploma. Or it's a degree, right? It's a degree.
You know? You bought that online, bro. I still don't think you went. You bought your football ring online, and yeah,
probably.
Thought so.
So, anyways, dude, let's talk about Small Nation, man. You got some really cool stuff going on. Your town, and I'm gonna go ahead and just come out with it. You kind of own a town, and again, this has been like a 12-year thing for you, where you saw an opportunity in a small town to be very successful. You looked at some of the just all the opportunity that was there, and you were able to kind of make it happen. So, tell us about Small Nation. Tell us about kind of how this whole thing came to be, where you've got God knows how many commercial buildings and businesses and business ventures, and it's really cool to see. And it's one of the things I've said about the town that you've kind of redeveloped and recreated is it's almost like a snow globe. It's like a Christmas town. It's beautiful. All the buildings are beautiful. The people are nice. Small businesses are flourishing. It's just a very beautiful thing that you've created. So, walk us through Small Nation.
Yeah, thanks. Well, that was really kind words, and appreciate the just the accolades of what's been accomplished. When we first started out, it wasn't like that. My background is both my parents were small business owners, so my dad had businesses in construction materials. We sold lumber, concrete, and stone, and my mom had a Hallmark gift shop. So if you think back to your parents and grandparents and those curio cabinets that you probably clean some of these out in the houses that you buy.
We keep them.
Listen, my mom, we sold all of that stuff, and so I like to share with people that I'm also trained to wrap a gift in a minute or under, because growing up in a small family business, you worked.
Yep.
But if you want to flip out your very traditional conservative small business parents, no one in my family ever went to college, so I told them I'm going to go to a liberal arts college and I'm going to be a music major.
And they were like, "What's that?"
yeah. I mean, it was a little bit of a change, but
flute, right?
So not the flute. I was vocal. And a pianist.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So went to Ohio Northern University, and that time that I was gone for about 4 years, the community I grew up in is a small town. The county is 46,000 people in Logan County. The city is 14,000 people. So it's kind of a courthouse town. And what had changed in that time that I had left, the big box pharmacies came into our community, bought all the independents. The men's clothing store that when I was a young man and 13 years old, the owner of Huber Buckenroth men's clothing store taught me how to tie a tie. He closed his business.
Huber
Buckenroth was the name.
That was a mouthful.
Can you say it 5 times fast?
I don't feel so old anymore now. I feel better. Okay.
It was the place you went to get dressed up. Whether
Huber
it was
Bucken, Wally, what?
Yeah, I know. Well, and again, towns like Bell Fountain had JCPenney was in the downtown at one point.
That's where my mom.
Sears.
Dude, those are the best stores ever, though, when you're younger.
So here was the thing, though. It all started on Main Street. So when you think of these kind of county seat towns, they have all these historic buildings that are often 3 and 4 stories that were where the department stores were, the shoe stores, the restaurants. Like that was where everything was for 100 years. And then when Walmart came to Ohio,
Put them out.
Oh man.
1987, the first Walmart to locate in Ohio opened up in Bellefontaine, Ohio.
Oh, really?
We were the first.
Is that true?
Bellefontaine, really?
It's true. So imagine listening to your parents talk at the dinner table about how they're going to compete against Walmart. I remember that. That was an emotional experience for me. But we fast forward, that time I was away at college, came back, graduated with my music degree, and I also got a business degree, and I was lit on fire to want to make my town better. So what happened, 80% of the first floors of our town were vacant and empty. 80%. So when you drive through, you're going to see parts of the buildings that were in the sidewalks and the streets. You're going to see, buildings boarded up. There's lots of crime, lots of blight. How do you think that makes people feel? Not great, right?
Yeah.
Would you want to live in a town like that?
No,
Would you want to
of course
stay
not.
there or start a business there? No. So I want to make my town better. And I think for a lot of real estate investors, if you talk to them, they've got to have their why. And my why was like, I want to see this place as a place that people have pride in. And so either very naive or very brilliant, I bought a building for $1.
It's like a passion project in a way too.
So hold on.
whole thing?
We have to rewind for a second. Every story that you tell about the buildings you buy always start with this. It's like, well, and I'm like, we'll do a tour in your town, and he's like, well, so this building right here, you see this one? Yeah, so I bought the building for $1, and I'm like, what the hell?
How do you negotiate it for $1? Like, listen,
You know what? You've never
they're like-
told me how that even works.
Well, you have to understand that there are costs in maintaining real estate. So what happened to the economics of Bellefontaine, and this can happen to a lot of towns and neighborhoods, is that it became more expensive for someone to maintain the building with the real estate taxes, the insurance, the maintenance and upkeep. So it became, you look at your balance sheet, there's this thing called assets. What's on the other side of that? Liabilities, right?
Liability.
Yeah.
Liabilities.
So what happened in this town, the buildings and the commercial district, everyone looked at it as a liability. The things that they were saying is all negative. There's no parking, right? It's unsafe. Why would you want to go downtown? It's deteriorating. So
So they were just giving it away. Like, here, look, you deal with it.
and again, probably being
was this? Like, how long
young,
ago?
it's been 15 years ago.
Dude, 15 years ago for $1, I bought 20 minutes of long distance.
Yeah, but that was basically.
It's really cool phone cards.
Yeah.
So was it basically 2008 when everything collapsed then?
Yeah, so right after 2008, like kind of
That's
right in that
awesome.
period, there wasn't a lot of people choosing to invest in small town USA.
Let
And
alone anywhere.
well, here's why. You guys, I think that's when you were kind of drawn to the lights of the big city. And why? Because there's great culture.
Because I can get Chipotle in 2 minutes.
100%. And the other thing is there's probably going to be live music and there's probably going to be great craft beer and great coffee. So
I like all the above.
Yeah, seriously.
the brain drain of what impacted small town USA was a legitimate real thing. So you got me buying my first building. The first thing that I wanted to do and that people were talking about to make the town better is I really wish we had a nice place to eat. Well, that's a loaded question. Like, what is nice
What
place
is a
to
nice
eat?
place?
Yeah, what's a nice place in a small town, though?
Like a $50
small
steak?
town.
Can I tell you, you survey people, it could be Long John Silver's. They want a Long John Silver's.
Listen.
Or
They
a
want-
Captain D's.
Captain D's, man, I love
They
that.
want,
Dude,
they want a
Little
treasure
express-
chest.
Have
They
you,
want
guys, have you guys seen those? The little Express Captain D's they're coming out with now?
They're back.
No.
Yeah, they're like 1,200 square feet. Like,
Can you still get
Let
a
it
root
to
beer
go?
float?
I don't
The
know.
A&W
I haven't
used to
been there.
combine
Can you
next
get
to
to-
them.
yeah.
I
Can you
haven't
get it
been
next
there
door?
yet.
Here's the thing with Captain D's. If you're ever going on a road trip with your family, don't start out with Captain D's.
Yeah, you
Ooh,
can fall
God,
asleep
yeah.
at the wheel.
No,
Yeah.
man, the car stinks.
Oh,
afterwards.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
what's the other one? Ponderosa?
No, it's not
Oh, I
gross.
bought one of those.
What?
An old Ponderosa?
Yeah,
That's the
that's
best
Iron
ever.
City.
Oh my lord!
Yeah, I owned a
That-
Ponderosa.
dude, it looks like
I
a
loved it.
Ponderosa.
Well, let me just tell you, as an 80s kid,
doesn't
they had
love
the
Ponderosa?
Sunday bar,
100%.
like the steak.
Salad
They
bar.
had tacos.
Well,
at
they
Ponderosa.
built those things really well. They were mostly made out of block, and the kitchens were triple the size of what you need for a restaurant today.
They actually looked like storage buildings. They were big, long buildings.
They're still
mostly
on South High.
Ponderosas.
Let me just tell you,
Yes.
they were built well, and they were peppered in all these kind of tertiary markets outside of the major
Yeah,
cities.
yeah.
So I bought one at a sheriff's sale, and the whole town,
for $1.
it was a little more than
He was like, it was 5.
It was 5.
You know,
okay.
imagine Logan County and Union County in our area. We call that area Honda country, and
It
we
is.
manufacture some of the best cars in the country. So let's think about in Logan County, 46,000 people. How many B-dubs, roosters, frickers? How many sports bars? Just throw out a number, guys. How many do you think existed in 46,000 people in Honda country?
None.
10?
3.
None was the answer.
Was it really?
So that's what I said. As an entrepreneur, if someone was to create a menu with great wings, cold beer, how hard can this be, right? So my partner and one of Terry's friends, Matt Brown, and I created Iron City Sports Bar.
Oh, really?
We
You're partners with
co-founded
Matt?
together. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah, and what's neat about Matt's story, so Matt, kind of grew up and we went to college together. We worked together for a number of years and then became business partners. But Matt bought me out probably about a year ago. He is sole owner of
Super
the
nice
real
guy.
estate. Great guy. Brilliant real estate guy too. Someone to follow. But he now owns the real estate. He is not only started one restaurant, he's taken Iron City, he's scaled it to others too.
He's got the pizza, the express pizza
Dude,
shop.
I want
right?
to talk about that too. You have learned how to partner up with great operators, and you have figured out what other people are great at and learn how to partner up with them. Like, is that like a skill set? Is that a learned behavior?
Well, one of my mentors said the 2 things you should not do in business is number 1, ever buy a bar or restaurant. And number, and then number 2, actually have a business partner. And here's why. The statistics on both of those, the failure rate is really high. Like, it's something like 90%.
That you should never have a business
Either one of
partner.
them.
Not
Or do
imagine
business
doing a 90%
partners.
failure and any business partner for that.
I have broken both of those rules. And I think
Contrarian by nature, you said.
you do have to be a contrarian at times, but I also think it's structuring a partnership and really getting to know what your unique ability is, what your partner's unique ability is, and then also being honest and transparent about the expectations. And there's legal documents that you can prepare in your partnership agreement that can spell some of this stuff out. So I'm big about fighting about all that stuff up front and really getting out your personal goals, your professional goals, what you're good at, what you're not good at.
the roles that are going to be assigned.
And time and money, because there's all kind of different contributions, and usually what happens, it's getting through those inequalities, and then having a communication structure for how, when you disagree with your partner, what the outcomes of how you can have a process to solve those. Because having dissonance is actually very healthy in a partnership. It's just being able to talk about what our process for how we're going to resolve that.
How hard is that when because you're coming in from the outside? A lot of these people don't even know you. Like you said, the Wits guy, you called up, right?
Yeah.
And formed a partnership. How hard is it to break through some of their like expectations or preconceived, I guess, ideas that they would have that they're going to do this and you're going to just...
I like the saying trust but verify. So I'm a very trusting person on the surface with
KJV.
people. Yeah. But I also want to know, like, what are their patterns? What are the things that they have gifts on? What is their kryptonite? And that's the other thing about being real and vulnerable with people. Like, doing what we do in real estate investing, entrepreneurship, starting businesses, running businesses, it's not easy. This stuff is really hard. And so if I like to find people that can be real and vulnerable about their journey, what got them to where they are. And it could be, the things they struggled with in life, the way they were raised, the things that maybe held them back, but they've worked on and they've accomplished, because those are the kind of people that I like to double down with to actually, vulnerably share, and they can help and coach and develop me and make me a better person too. So I think that partnerships are the opportunity for you to work with someone or a group of people that can leverage the speed and leverage the common skills and goals as a team. It's like your own little mastermind.
So I got to rewind one more time. So just for those that are listening, a lot of people that will listen to this, they're like wondering how to get started in business or how to get started in real estate. How do I scale my lifestyle and get to that point? So how did you even start, man?
Yeah, how did you even start?
So I need to get access to capital.
Because you have like a grand to turn a whole city around. I don't even know fathom how you would even start to think like, all right,
Like we're like, dude, we're gonna do our next mastermind, our scalers
we'll
on the
drink and
mastermind.
get drunk. We'll drink and drunk. I'm gonna buy this building. No, he actually really did.
So you bought a building.
Buy that building.
And when I bought this building, you have to keep in mind that it had this beautiful water feature. So every time it rained, that water kind of fell right through the middle of the space. Can you imagine the sound of that? It was like a fountain. It's like a fountain. And then
if I'm
Bango.
that's right. And then you guys appreciate fine art. Well, in this building, nature had basically done a mosaic of every color of mold on a wall that I could possibly ever seen.
Bobby was getting excited for a second. He said, "Fine art? Fine art? Is it Gucci?"
Yeah. No. So the property was rough, but here's the thing that had going for it. It was on a main street, which had 14,000 cars a day. It was directly across from the courthouse, which had lots of traffic from the attorneys, from the accountants, from people doing county business. And because there weren't many restaurants in town, it got me thinking, I want to recruit a restaurant. And so I started kind of scouring who in a few counties around us have some of the best food, and would they ever consider taking risk of opening up a new place. And I heard no after no after no of why people wouldn't come or take a look at my building. Then my mentor taught me that no is just a delayed version of yes. You just have to keep asking the question other ways. And finally, Michael Shepard, that owned Michelangelo's Pizza, he was making some of the best New York style pizzas that I have ever experienced. And one way that I will judge a town and community is how good the pizza is, and secondly, how good the hand dipped ice cream or donuts are.
I agree, and I think Columbus is completely underrated when it comes to pizza. Like we actually have Columbus style.
The Columbus style pizza is a
It's a real thing. Yeah.
Wait,
why do we not publicize that?
Donatos.
Yeah, Donato's,
But it doesn't work
Massey's,
anywhere
you have
else.
Johnny's, you have Planks, you have all these.
That's true.
The thin
The
cracker
thin
crust.
Nobody likes that anywhere else in the nation but the Midwest. Like down in Florida,
we
you
love
talk
it.
about it. No, they hate
Well,
it.
we eat like
We're pizza
shit.
eaters.
Besides that, we need that
It's like health
thin
food.
crust.
You need more gluten in
I
your
mean, there's
life,
dairy. There's some veggies.
Dairy and, you know.
There's
Well, Donato's
grains.
has the cauliflower crust now.
Uh-huh.
So is that no? Now you're avoiding the Columbus pizza.
Listen, okay, sometimes
Cauliflower
we
crust.
have to get our asses in gear, get
Yeah.
in shape, watch what we eat,
Well, here's the thing. If you own a pizza place, you definitely want to own a gym. And you want to collect rent from both, right?
Bingo, bang.
Hit them up against each
But here,
other.
let me tell you. So, the pizzeria, I finally got them to sign a lease. And I found a local investor to help fund. I paid a higher interest rate with a private money lender to help fund the equipment and the lease build out for this pizzeria. And the big thing that I was doubling down on was the operators, because I met Michael, who was the mentor, and the mentee was Brittany Saxton. She started doing dishes when she was 14 years old, became a line cook, pizza chef, and assistant manager. Today, and again, fast forward today, in the beginning, when we first said we're bringing a new pizza restaurant to Bell Fountain, what do you think people said?
Oh, the hell with
There's
that.
13 other pizza places. You shouldn't
Why
go
would that
downtown.
work?
This thing's not going to work.
No one likes that kind of pizza.
That was until they met Michael and Brittany. And I think that's the key about finding operators, and then you testing and you coaching and you developing and working with them to help them, know the gaps of what they're not good at, but know what they're really good at. And they started making pizzas, this deep dish Detroit, before Detroit crust was even a thing. And then there
was popular.
Listen,
right?
they only do 20 of them a day, so it's a really unique, special kind of product. And then think about this. One pizza on their menu is called the Montana, base of ranch dressing, grilled chicken, mozzarella, bacon, and kettle-cooked potato chips on
I
top.
haven't had dinner yet, Jason. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Starving.
easy, man.
So when you look at this menu,
there.
it's stuff like you've never experienced. But then you go in there. If you have kids in your life, the servers bring out dough balls for the kids to play with.
And then they're hooked. Then you can't leave.
Well, mom and dad are like,
Pizza.
can actually have a date night out. So it's all the things from the beautiful tin ceilings and the ambiance when you walk in the space, to the type of food that you're eating, to the way the servers treat you. So in the beginning,
I want to go.
well, in this thing, let me just tell you, Brittany is now a 5-time world pizza champion. She's been on the Food Network twice. She got second place out of 4 international pizza chefs on Guys Grocery Games.
Wow.
So once you got the real estate project, the other secret that we do is we storytell. And I think for your tenants, for your town, for your neighborhood, how are you helping enhance its story? and helping other people know for why they'd want to visit, why they would want to experience it.
Dude, I want to go to Bell Fountain now. Like, I've never wanted to go to Bell Fountain.
Definitely want
After hearing you talk for like 30 seconds, I'm like, wait, what is this
We
magical
were an
place?
underrated town.
It seems magical.
I know, like the pizza, the buildings, the
We were an underrated
fine art.
town. And I'll just tell you another brief story is I met a group of guys that found a club in Bell Fountain called the Bell Fountain Body Bearding Club.
What?
You guys,
Hold on.
yeah.
All right, now say that 4 times fast.
Bell
What is that?
Body Bodega.
28
Bell
guys
Fountain.
that would compete in bearding competitions around the country. The Bell Fountain Body Bearding Club.
Just actually beard competition.
Beards. The longest, the most colorful. You can even wear a fake beard if you so please.
Leprechaun beard?
So, yeah,
I'm concerned
all of
about
them.
my own beard right now.
Well, let me tell you what surprised me is that they hosted an event in our downtown and they brought other bearding clubs from around the country. And they said,
There's
Jason,
other ones?
this is the thing, a big thing.
A bearding? I gotta Google this stuff. Can you pull this up, Nosa?
The bearding clubs
So there was a
and
Buckeye,
bearding competitions.
there was
awesome.
a Buckeye Bearders Club back when I owned a brewery back in the day.
Like a bikers club, but
And
with
it was a
bearded
bearders
guys.
club, and I was like, I'm a part of the guys club, you know, like
Yeah.
I'm a part of like normal dudes.
Well, when I
it
went
was-
to
it
this
was cool.
event,
What the holy crap?
it's a real thing.
Dude, look at
Hold
those
on,
beards!
yes.
Oh, what the?
Wow.
So actually, do you see that lady right there?
If that's a lady?
The top? That is
bigger
one
beard
of our
than I have.
members. That is one. Look right there. The first thing
Bell
on Google
Fountain,
that
that's
pops
not a
up.
real beard, though,
That is
right?
the first thing. That's a fake
Dude,
beard.
it's like-
Okay, I was like, how did she grow a beard bigger
It's
than
like
me?
Jesus went to Halloween.
That is Mickey right there.
That's
So,
awesome.
The Bell Fountain
Jesus.
Club went to
It definitely-
Lexington,
Yeah.
but let me just tell
Dude,
you.
I'm going to Bell Fountain. I want to go to Bell
Can I
Fountain.
tell you how this led into a business opportunity? Is that the club invited me to one of their events. I listened to some of the coolest music that I've ever had. I met great people that were dialed into the community, to the town, and I drank some of the most unique craft beer that I've ever had. And I learned that people that have beards know a hell of a lot about craft beer.
I can
Yeah,
see
they
that.
do. They do.
Trendy,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and so you think, go back in time 10 years ago, craft beer did not exist in small town USA. And let alone tap rooms that were bringing and curating really, really craft beer.
It damn near didn't exist in general. It was like Sam Adams, and that's it.
So we took an empty building that did not have a floor and did not have a roof, and we partnered up with two of the members, Brian and Jeremy from the Bell Fountain Body Bearders Club. We created the Brew Fountain in Bell Fountain. The last 5 years running, it has been the #1 craft beer bar in Ohio.
I used to sell them beer. And they had some very unique craft beer from Pigskin Brewing Company. I just want to say
You
that
didn't
it
sell
was
enough, apparently.
For 3 years.
Okay,
If he was selling your beer, you would have sold enough.
probably.
That is true.
But here's the thing. So imagine you have a great pizza place, then you've got a great craft beer bar. Then more restaurants started to want to inquire about leasing and renting buildings. So we start to get a great barbecue place, 2G's Barbecue, a great hamburger shop called Don's Downtown Diner. Then we start getting restaurants like the Flying Pepper Cantina, which the cantina between Local Cantina, Condados, Parks, all of them blew up here in Columbus.
They did.
They're not in small town USA.
No kidding.
But there's a huge opportunity to create those cantinas working with amazing operators. And Lauren Humberto that operate the Flying Pepper. Open Table. You guys familiar with Open Table?
Yeah.
Who's got their phone? Because if you bring up Open Table, best overall restaurants, Columbus, Ohio,
Nuh-uh.
3 out of the top 10 are in Bell Fountain, Ohio. So you got Jeff Ruby's, you got Cameron Mitchell's. Look at the top best overall restaurants, Columbus, Ohio.
You pulling it up now?
Pull it up.
Pull that up. In the meantime,
Best overall restaurants. Yep.
I want Bobby to be the judge of this. This dude's owned more restaurants than, you know, God knows who.
Keep scrolling down. There's 600 downtown. There's one.
That's
Damn.
Bell
Keep scrolling
Fountain.
down.
Damn. Lindy's is on there.
There's
Okay.
Syndicate.
We got Lindy's.
And then Flying Pepper.
We had dinner.
Top 3. Best 10 overall. Columbus, Ohio. We are
That's not even
60 miles away. What does that tell you about the food?
You know what?
Hey,
I've
that's
noticed
wild.
that you're building experiences out there, and I think that's what's helping. Like the experience of like just being out there and having what a unique, fun experience makes more people want to go and do things there.
What gives
Well,
you...
it's a few things. So it is that. It's creating the environment that when you walk into this place, you're blown away by the acoustics. So you can actually hear in the restaurant. You're blown away by the bar top being quartz. You're blown away by the kind of fabric that's on the chairs.
That's what I
The
mean, the
next
full experience. Like you walk in,
Bingo.
it's something you can't describe. You love it. You enjoy it. It's like
the next step is like, what appetizers are we going to order? How's the server make me feel? How's this food taste? And then if you can walk around, and we were joking about Captain D's and others, when you guys would jump in and take that trip to Florida, how many of you stopped at a Cracker Barrel? So if you have a really busy restaurant,
I love checkers and checkers.
if you have a really busy restaurant, what do you need right next to it?
Gas station,
The gift shop.
the gift shop.
So around every one of our restaurants, we have shopping boutiques, antique malls,
T-shirts.
art galleries,
You
T-shirts,
built
for your
Easton
clothing
before
company.
Easton was a thing.
So
Like-
really, we made Easton real and authentic.
Yeah,
Because if you go to Easton, I mean,
it's corporate now. Everything's just all big
it
names.
feels fake.
Yeah.
But when you
It
come
does.
to downtown Bell Fountain, you're going
authentic.
to walk a real historic buildings. You're going to walk on the first concrete street in America. The first concrete street in all of America is in our town.
1893, right?
Yeah, great memory. So it's like, but like, what's your town's
Just wanna
weird?
throw in my-
What's your town's weird?
I remember.
Make that come out in the
Yeah.
experience that you're there.
That's so awesome. I never knew Bell Fountain had so much like unique qualities and first things too.
So you
Walmart,
strike, you're a
concrete.
creative person then.
Very creative.
Yes.
Very creative.
Is
Now-
that what?
Go ahead.
Well, because it just seems like some people see a blank canvas and they're like, "Oh, that canvas is trash," and you see one and you're like, "Well, I could put this here. I could put this here. I could turn," because you're taking these. You're even the restaurants that you partner with. It seems like you're taking a whole new vision to them.
I was 18 years old when the Short North was going through its renaissance here in Columbus. So I attended Gallery Hop every weekend.
What was the original guy? When they were fun back in the day and authentic and all the art and all the stuff. That was the cool days.
I watched and paid attention and learned as those investors, those creatives, those developers were reshaping all of that. I'm ripping duplicating a lot of those same principles in smaller towns and smaller markets. It's not rocket science. It's like following the patterns of who have achieved success and taking those. We focus and develop down on our creatives. We create great local food and build the economy around local food. And then we create really niche, awesome places to get your hair done, to work out, to explore your dream and passion with your internet-based business and having a great place to co-work. All of those things, every town and neighborhood in the country deserves
that.
and needs that. It's finding those underrated places where you can actually get in the real estate game and start putting some of those businesses and those ideas into motion.
So I want to ask this, man. So as creative as you are in everything that you have developed and created, because as a developer, you're kind of a creator, right? I mean, how do you transition that to be almost timeless? Like, what are you looking at? Hey, is this going to stand the test of time in 10 years?
Some things,
Talking about development.
yeah, I mean, some things will and some things may need to innovate. So I think food is always going to be, and coffee and craft beer are always going to be things that bring people together. So those are kind of what I would call the base of the pyramid. And what's even more important is who's working in those businesses. So if we don't have housing that's affordable for the dishwashers, we don't have a community.
So how in the hell do you do that, though? That's the biggest question right now, is how do you get affordable housing? You can't build
What if
it.
we work with our restaurateurs to start to invest in buying single-family homes so that they can provide affordable rent
their
credits
workers.
or stipends to their workers?
Okay, so the way that I bought this building that we sit in right now, I was at a bar right next door, 2016, and caught the guy. He was drinking the one time, and he was a phenomenal operator. He killed it over here. And we shook hands on a number, and he was a man of his word. Now, he's gotten over on me a lot of times, too. I just want to put that out there. But, that one time, I came over, it was the very next day, did the inspection. He had his entire staff at the bar next door living here. Granted, it was kind of like indentured servitude, like to a certain degree. It was like payroll deducting and doing all that. But, I just thought that was very unique, that he's like, hey, I've got to have these bartenders. I got to have these waitresses. I got to have all these people. I need somewhere to house them. I'm just going to buy the building next door and then make sure that they show up for work. This is downtown Columbus, so a different story than small town America.
It's serving your workers of what they need, and I think
like a benefit.
people in life, they need access to healthcare. So in our town, we recruited a group of doctors that opened up a direct primary care practice and provide incredible healthcare for $41 a month. So they don't accept insurance, and most small businesses can't afford to provide health insurance to their employees, but we can afford for many of our employees to provide membership to that practice. That's a game changer to have access to healthcare. The other thing is I'll share.
I'm moving to Bell Fountain now. I'm just going there. I'm moving to Bell Fountain.
Yeah, thank you. We'd love to have you. We brought in mental health practitioners, and people I don't think talk about this enough, but like oftentimes business owners are the first line of defense to help someone that's struggling with addiction or depression, and so we found professionals that can actually help our employees through those hard points in life, and that keeps an employee there around longer. And then we put in fitness facilities. So give them a gym membership.
Give them jobs,
get them working,
give them fitness.
Get them working on themselves, their mind, their body. Like it's focusing on the complete person. And I think that's, again, what you can do of partnering up with other investors and entrepreneurs in your community. They may provide those services. Mm-hmm. They win when you win. And so it's like building a self-serving ecosystem.
Yeah. I mean,
it's economic development.
It's like all integrated, and starting and building upon that. I mean, so much you've done, and you're so diversified too with that. What's your next moves? I mean, you're taking over towns, it seems like, but what do you have,
it's getting a town really strong, and so the restaurants need the retailers, and then I think the thing we're working on now is those upper floors is getting them full of housing. Because when more people are living in the neighborhood, they're going to get their hair done, they're going to grab coffee, they're going to work out the gym, they're going to shop. So even a newer development to kind of look at that I think has achieved a lot of success is what Crawford Hoying has done at Bridge Park. And they're doing now, of course, in Dayton and also Cincinnati. That's a lot of new construction. But the same premise. They've got, 7 or 8 restaurants there. They've got outdoor patios that are connected to those restaurants. They put a fitness facility in where they're probably getting their premium rents is going to be on the boutique hotels. And you see when Cameron Mitchell decides he's going to partner up and build a boutique hotel in Dublin, my ears and eyes are tuned to that. And we're saving a building in our town to do the exact same thing.
I mean, after Bell Fountain, though, you already own Bell Fountain. You're taking it over, but do you have ambitions of growing that to different cities across the nation as well, too?
So we are. We've developed a process called the Small Town Success Formula. And so we have a model that can help working with the local chamber, the community foundation, or even it could be local investors of being able to buy and invest in historic real estate, actively recruit tenants. And if you can't recruit those tenants, finding ways to start those businesses yourself, and then getting access to capital is another big step to that, and then providing that ongoing marketing, coaching, and support. So within that kind of formula, we've been doing this now for 15 years. We invite investors, leaders, doers to come take the tour in our town. Bring your cameras, bring your notebook, and rip and duplicate. Take it back home.
So for people that are watching, access to capital, that is that's a huge thing. You got to find the deal and you got to find the money. So what has been part of your success in finding money and having access to capital?
Yeah, finding people that believed in your vision, or that maybe they trusted you before.
There's people that had to believe in you.
Yeah.
In a small town, there oftentimes are community banks and credit unions that very much care. They're governed by boards of people that live and work in that community, and they want to see their town better. Yep. So that's one of the first places with traditional financing that they start to have relationships with those people.
Terry loves community banks.
They've been a savior for my business. Yep. I preach community.
So 100%.
No one goes to them though.
We have needed and used about $30 million in private capital to reshape Bell Fountain. 100% of those dollars have come from 3 community banks.
So really? You don't own your own bank yet.
That's insane.
You said I have bought bank buildings.
Oh, there it is.
I was like, wow, this particular bank that I bank with and owe a lot of money to. I'm like,
you're the landlord?
I didn't see this building last time. He's like, yeah, I bought the building for $1.
What's my interest rate? Yeah. What do you owe me now?
No, it's a partnership.
Hey, a lot of times you guys owe rent.
Just in all seriousness, a lot of times the banks don't want to own their real estate.
Yeah.
Because they're not in the real estate business. They're in the finance business. So those are opportunities too, guys. The second thing to finding money is there's a lot of wealth that exists in the traditional legacy towns or company towns. Could be farmers. And first thing,
money.
Well, let me just. What I like to do is get a group of There's sometimes the old guard that are in town, and they're typically, when I'm speaking, they're in the back room with their arms crossed, very skeptical about any of this change. And my next question to them is, I normally say to them, so you like paying a lot of taxes? Oh no, they're going on to that, and I say, well, real estate is one of the most powerful vehicles to get access to depreciation. You know that real estate, if you invest in the opportunity zone, if you've got all these gains and all this tax, you can defer that. And, over that period of 10 years, if you own that, then you sell it, there's no gain on any of that money. Like, I started just kind of getting them talking about taxes. And the next thing is, I said, what if you invested in your own town and saw these businesses succeed, but you weren't sending money to Washington, D.C. to misspend? You're just investing that money in your local community. And usually those money people, their ears perk up. So you got to have the money people, you got to have CPAs and attorneys that can help advise and structure the deals. And then you need entrepreneurs with good ideas, and most of those people don't have money.
Out of those, who's most important?
Well, I see, and when I go to towns, every town on those three categories of people have a different mix. And so I go to some towns, and they're loaded with cash, and they got no inspiration, ideas, entrepreneurial types. And I go to other towns or communities, they're loaded with all this creativity and all this passion and no money. So what I think you need a mix of all three, but you need to be a translator and help get those three groups of people talking to each other. And I think that's one of the gifts that we have, is that we can bring all three of those types to our town and walk through the streets to show them the before and after pictures, have them meet and talk to the tenants. Because you can read, when you walk into a store or a restaurant or business, you can read on that business owner's face if they're making money or not. And money and energy are the same thing. So if someone sacrifices their time, their capital, they deserve to make massive amounts of money, because whatever their mission is, it's going to be doing even more. So the big thing that we work to double down in our town is I want to get people profitable, and I want to get them wildly profitable, because they're probably going to start a second business and a third business, and they're going to tell other people about it. If someone isn't making money, usually it's because they're not open to being coached, or maybe there's some barrier or block. It's very rare that we've had failures in town.
So there's a book I read called Ego is the Enemy. You ever read that book?
I've heard of it. I've not read it, no.
So great book. Do you feel like that's the number one enemy of small business owners?
So you have to have enough ego to have the confidence to do what most people won't do. And I think we were talking a little earlier here before we got started today. Like, I am really big at finding ways to enhance confidence and courage, because there's not enough of that today. I think a lot of young people I see are standing on the sidelines because they're waiting for the right condition that everything's going to be perfect. That just never exists. Okay.
Yeah, it's all going to line up, right?
So I want to first say, I want you to have a little bit of ego, because you're going to have to power through a lot of no's. You're going to have to, hear, and maybe your own family and people around you are not going to support you. So a little bit's good to have that bravado. Maybe bravado is probably a better word. The second thing I think you're really going to need to have is a lot of grit. And I really that's one of the second most important quality when I find entrepreneurs or business partners. I'm here to tell you that what you're about to do is going to be very, very hard. The whole game, and I love in a lot of the real estate community, the people that are sitting on the beach that have the fancy cars, and they're talking about, I have all this passive income.
Dude.
Passive income. Well,
passive income is such a real thing, right?
It is. Dude. It can come, but it comes after a lot of really, really hard and important work.
Yes. Thank you. Please talk about that, please.
Well, I will tell you, this morning, I'm usually the first one in my office, and I'm also the person that, if our public bathrooms, someone destroys them, which, do you have to maintain any public bathrooms? Good luck. Yeah. Are you the guy that's doing the destroying?
I'm usually the
I had wings last night.
Yeah, I know. But
for the fourth time this week.
There's some days that I'll be cleaning up shit in a public bathroom, and there's some days where the governor comes to town and he said he just wants to do lunch with me. It's you have to be prepared that there's that's the life, but don't think that you are somehow going to be above doing any task in the business.
Top, bottom, and everything in between.
One of our core values in our company is humility. Being humble, and going back to the bathroom analogy, I'm like, dude, I'll clean.
You are not humble in the bathroom.
I'm not humble in the bathroom, but listen, I'm humble cleaning that shit up. But I want everyone to know that, hey, I'm willing to get on my hands and knees and clean this thing, even though I'm the one that kind of blows it up more than anybody. But also too, it's being humble enough to be willing to do whatever it takes, but then understanding where my position is, that, hey, I need to elevate and do the highest level activity, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to be successful.
Yeah, I mean,
I saw him clean one toilet.
It's the same toilet. It's
Because
the same
nobody wants to
toilet.
one after he used it.
He keeps bringing it up. No.
I think a good hiring test on everyone is
Humility.
how well they clean a toilet. 'Cause
Yeah, there you
people
go.
have different levels of skill
They
sets.
put a mop on it. Okay, we're done. You've had like a lot of successes and accolades. I mean, you're obviously thriving and everything. But what's like you think you're personally? What's one of your challenges that you're trying to overcome right now, or what's holding you back from going to the next level? Because everyone's got something, or what are you working on?
So I have a highly addictive personality, and truthfully, I fully understand addicts, and I love addicts because that focus, that fixation on things. Luckily, my addiction is work.
Healthy addiction.
It's a socially acceptable addiction.
So you're either 100 or 0.
And I probably most people that would describe me say I'm always at 100.
Yeah.
Okay, and so the challenge is at different phases in your life. 20s you can get by with doing that. 30s, now like having energy, maintaining health,
Balance.
having people and significant others and friends that will stay in your life as you're binging with the level of work. Like for me, it's been kind of entering this new phase of surrounding myself with people that call me on my shit and also support the healthy sides of my personality. So words of affirmation is very important to me. So I like to accomplish things, but it means a lot to me when people recognize what I accomplished. But I also need to know that when I look in the mirror, and I think when I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, they look in the mirror and they never see enough. So it's really working on and knowing what you have accomplished is meaningful, valuable, and that there's a point where you have achieved enough.
So for someone that's let's say that 20-year-old kid, going back to our 20s, that 20, 21-year-old, 22-year-old that's looking to do something great with their life, like what piece of advice would you give your 22-year-old self?
Well, the great thing about youth is that you have plenty of time to test a lot of different things, and you can make a ton of mistakes, and people are very forgiving.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I do encourage, like, you need to find what your niche is, and it's okay to have a few failures. I mean, I was a licensed realtor for many years, and I was terrible at selling real estate.
So that's why you decided to buy it.
I remember the conversation.
I feel like finding your niche is trial and error.
It really
is.
Like
this.
It really is, and I think like you have to take your weird, like what you mentioned that being a creative. I have a gift to look at underrated, undervalued assets and seeing what their best potential is. I do the same with people. Like I can really have a conversation with someone for probably 10 minutes and probably take away what their gift is and what they should be doing more of. And it's just my team. I'm really proud. There's 14 of us. Like we're all a little weird. We're all extremely gifted in some certain area, but when you take, it's like, you put all our powers combined, we are the Power Rangers. Like,
Which one?
I'm just not wearing the I'm just not wearing the spandex. So, but like, no, I think that's what I'm naturally good at. And so what's neat is every day now I get to travel to other towns and other communities. They show me their coolest stuff and who's like doing really significant things. I get ideas from them and they inspire me, and then I'm bringing those same people to our town to see ideas and things that they've never been exposed to that they can take back home.
That's awesome.
So you talked about failures. What is your biggest failure so far?
Well, on that too, your biggest failure, but also you said your gift is also seeing opportunities that people, what they can do. Like if you look at a mirror, what would you tell yourself as well too?
Yeah, so I'm extremely loyal to a fault, and sometimes I hang on to things, to buildings, to properties, to people, longer than I should. And so part of the learning lesson with that is, being able to have the law of attraction to bring the kind of deals and opportunities and things you want in your life, but also being opposed or being open to detachment. So sometimes letting something go or letting someone go is actually allowing them to flourish and to succeed. So, and I think that's the same thing too with teams and employees. And
we're like thinking of the same thing.
Teams, employees, people, businesses, like you get emotional attachments and there are patterns and things that form, but sometimes things are meant to break. Sometimes things are meant to, things are meant to break and depart so new things can form. And for me, I'm very slow with that because I'm just naturally, I'm just extremely loyal. So it's hard for me to disconnect probably, and I need to do that sooner. And it's something my coach, like I have, that's the other thing I encourage people to do, like whether it's a coach or a counselor or an advisor, like I am always coachable. I am one of the first things, every speaking event that I do, the minute I get off stage, I will grab one of my team members or someone that I know in the audience to say, can you give me feedback? Because that's the only way I'm going to get better. I have
Honest
to continue to
feedback,
evolve.
though.
Sure.
You can't have like yes men around you.
No.
You have to have like.
Trust me,
be like,
Shannon in
hey.
her office, when I walk in, she'll be like, that shirt does not go with those pants. You're never
like,
wearing
"Oh,
that
shit,
again.
really?"
No, I know. That's the kind, and you know, I appreciate that. Like,
No, for real.
Yeah.
People that are frank.
Yeah.
It's funny. I think the number one trait of someone that I want to bring on is, are they coachable? That's it. Are you willing to listen? Are you willing to learn? Right? And those are the people that usually end up going far and above away what I thought they would be. Right?
100%.
Yeah.
I got a dire question.
Yes,
Running
go ahead.
for office soon?
Oh.
So you can
I was
fire.
going to ask that. I was trying to tee it up.
already
Damn,
are.
Bobby.
I'm just wondering. I mean, all
Damn
this-
you.
What I love about you can fire clients, you cannot fire voters. My belief is that you can accomplish much more meaningful work in shaping your community, your region, your state, being an entrepreneur or a business owner, than being a politician.
Right.
Doesn't mean that we don't need great people running for office, because we do. But I don't really have any interest. And first off, my partner said he's long gone if I whatever run for office. So I would be very single and
You
not.
just said you have to learn how to detach, right? I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Totally kidding.
that would definitely be a detachment. I'm moving in the basement with you guys. Here we go.
We got
There's a futon over here.
That actually looks
maroon
comfortable.
couch.
That looks pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
He said,
I'm a good company. I know
my head down.
we could work 70 hours a week and you know, eat and drink great things, so it'll be good.
Well, there's definitely other ways of impacting the community. I think you definitely do a lot. And what I love about it is that you're more about the passion and like your like reason for doing the business is not just the business that comes with it. It's not just the solely making the money and that, but you're actually doing so much good for communities, building the community, building the spot you're at.
So you
doing all
were
that.
talking about some of the loss that you have, and just to add to that, and I'll share this, but I mean, this is something I know about you, and I know that you've taken a loss on some of your projects just so other projects would be successful and other business owners would be successful.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, this is capitalism. Like, you shouldn't be doing but you're like, listen, they're going to be successful, which in turn is going to make me successful. And so you have this long-term vision of what you see, which many people don't have. And not very many people would take a loss or a bath on a real estate deal just to be able to make other real estate deals happen or other business people be able to be successful. So
What do you think people pay for an education? And so a lot, right? We pay a lot.
I mean, all my failure, I'm like, well, mine.
So I don't like losing money. I don't think anyone likes losing money, but the best way to learn is with your own pocketbook. And so a lot of our projects, I mean, we've opened up 7 different restaurants in different industries. So there's a very different experience when you have a restaurant that's serving premium brunch versus churning out $30 pizzas. And there's different food costs and different labor costs and all these different things. But the neat thing about my journey as an entrepreneur is I have seen and been involved in so many different businesses and industries. I learned from that. I gained from that knowledge. So I look at it like education. Now I'm always pivoting, tweaking, working to figure out I don't want to continue that loss.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
Restaurants are an expensive education, by the way.
they are.
We're gonna get there.
They are.
Best lessons are the hard lessons. Those are the ones you remember, right?
Out of all the businesses that you've been a part of, what would you say is the easiest, the most profitable, the hardest, the least profitable?
Like sector or
I'll always cover to say it depends, but I still think real estate is the best and most powerful vehicle to build wealth. An operating business within real estate, there's a lot of innovation right now with this rental arbitrage. I'm sure a lot of your guests are talking about Airbnbs and subdividing time. Well, that's the same in the commercial space. Like we're in the co-working business, so we have shared office spaces and provide co-working at Build Co-working Space in Bell Fountain, and we're opening up other build co-work locations in Ohio. That is really using a space and subdividing it. And then in the fitness and health space, like right now, how my mind is really excited exploring is that if you've got members paying membership to your gym, what are the other services that are premium that they can opt for? So infrared saunas, cocoon pods, cryotherapy,
sleep pods or whatever.
You don't have those.
Red light
He was trying to
therapy.
tell me about this cocoon pod
Yeah, what
stuff.
are the cocoon pods?
I'm not
They're
down.
like sleep pods or the salt.
So the Salt Cave's another one.
Yeah.
I want to tell you, I don't give them a plug because I think they're doing some really innovative things. But in Plain City, which is kind of 20, 30 minutes outside of Columbus here, there's a business called the Center Wellness. They have all of this stuff, and like they're innovators. And I am a huge fan, like of number one, finding ways to detox and finding ways to relax. It's really hard for me. I've been doing this red light therapy now for 3 or 4 months. My sleep is the best it's ever been, and I have struggled with sleep my entire life. And again, I think we're learning more about health coming out of COVID, and I think consumers are more conscious about health. So I'm focused on, from a real estate perspective, how we can find practitioners like chiropractors, massage therapists, gyms, and fitness facilities that want these kinds of things combined in their facility.
Terry, that's what you were talking about doing to the gym.
For
Cocoon pods, get one. What is one?
I don't know.
Just-
How much those things cost?
Who
About
cares? Just do
20,000.
it.
If you type,
He's like, 20,000, I got you.
type infrared cocoon pod or
Listen,
cocoon pod
sounds
sauna.
like
I'm gonna need a loan from our listeners for this.
They can be bought on
Sponsors
Amazon
need
right now.
Sponsors.
But let me tell you why they're so cool. Is that I hate heat. Like I'm that person
But
like it puts air conditioning on your
It's not
face
like a
while you're getting the
sauna, right?
benefit.
So it's like
Are those like the
of
UVB?
It's like
sauna.
those little Spritz fans in Key West.
Are those like the
Basically,
UVB?
Yeah, but
So
like-
click the shopping tab. I think it'll pop up on the shopping.
Is that like the
Well, it's
UVB
literally-
infrared
there
light?
you go. So let's
Bro, you are
Cocoon Wellness
financing
Pod. This thing, I'm just telling you, this thing is like the coolest thing.
That's a good deal. An extra
$17,995
You can finance
to
it.
lay in a cocoon pod.
there's
Actually,
one
you
for
could put it down here.
We used to have a tiny bed down here. We're not putting no more beds down here.
I swear, yeah, we
This
used
would
to
be
have
a
tanning
healthy.
bed.
This would be a healthy tanning bed.
What is
Listen,
it?
we used to have that as a company perk. We're like, hey, you got a free gym membership because I own a gym.
That doesn't perk
and
for
free
me.
tanning as well.
Yeah,
What am I doing?
down in Terry's extra bedroom.
Dude, what
You get
that's the food
haircuts
cost
on
is
Wednesday?
Yeah, we do haircuts every Wednesday.
What's
Yeah,
that
I gotta
Rejuva
come
wrap
for you
next to
guys.
that? Dude, the Rejuva wrap's only $400. You can do that.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll rejuvenate
That
you
looks a lot
and
better.
wrap you.
I just want to rejuvenate.
I'm just telling you that I think that in the real estate sphere, there's health and wellness and beauty are really smart.
But they're
investments right now.
always changing, and I think that's one of the issues. Is like, especially in the fitness industry, things are always constantly evolving. It's,
The real estate's not though. So think
Yeah.
about this.
You
This is
overcome it.
this is what I would do is if you design treatment. And again, I do a lot of hair salons, so I'm like the hair salon guy.
You're everything, dude. I've already come to everything.
how many hair salons
Bangs,
do you
hair
have?
salon.
we lease to 5 different
The
hair salons.
restaurant,
Oh,
hair
wow.
salon,
In a town of how many
bar,
people?
14,000
craft brewery.
people. And let me tell you, and actually, none of them
That's
have
a lot.
none of them have signs saying walk-ins welcome. Do you know why?
You need more.
The practitioners that we have are all booked up, and we need more.
Do you have pet spas?
No, but I'd love to do one.
Dude, those are booked out. Like, I can't get my dog in for a grooming appointment ever within like 2 or
Hey,
3
They're
weeks.
hard on the real estate because of the plumbing and the hair.
We just got a lead today for
Yeah.
a dog groomer, so
250 grand. We're for the business and the building.
That's
But
probably a good deal.
But think about this:
Do
if
it.
you design treatment rooms and procedure rooms, so a lot of times the treatment room just needs to be that 8 by 12, and if it has a hand wash sink, that would be a huge plus. If you can put the plumbing in, that can be flexible for massage therapy, acupuncture, chiropractic. Name your woo-woo service.
And those are the profitable business.
Those are independent
businesses.
Those are
Right.
independent contractors that are probably going to pay you somewhere between $300 to $600 a month to use a fractional amount of
It's
time.
like
for
Salon
this
Lofts,
business.
right? Isn't that their whole thing? Rob,
Yeah.
the guy that started.
And think about though with salon lofts, it's now not just the beauticians or the manicurists and pedicurists. There is now this whole new spectrum of health and wellness.
Yeah.
People that are working out of their home that really want to be a part of a much more larger experience.
Most people do.
So I'm very bullish about that, and we're looking at that because that's kind of the next phase of our town. When you've got great coffee shops and restaurants and a fresh squeezed juice bar and fitness facilities, what are the things if you're a Dublin mom do you want to get your Botox in Dublin where someone else could see you, or do you want to drive 40 minutes to Bell Fountain to a cool little town to get your treatment?
I don't know anyone. Sure, I'll get this.
You know a lot about the small towns. As far as like, I believe small towns actually build up our entire country. You know, it's all about the small towns based on that. How's like everything going on in the economy affect your small town?
The reason we created Small Nation is that there are lots more little dots of people and population and economic activity happening in small businesses and small towns than there are the larger cities.
Thanks, buddy.
There's also, I think, a shift that people are looking for states, for towns, for communities that have great schools, that it's affordable to live, and they actually can, if they've got a good idea, they can actually see that idea happen, versus all the friction points that rules and regulations and time it takes. You know, I was sharing, someone said, like, so I live in Dublin, Ohio now, which is, 35 minutes or so from Bell Fountain. They're like, why aren't you doing projects here in Dublin? I said, I love Dublin, but the time it would take me to do one project in Dublin, I could get 20 projects done in Bell Fountain. That's the difference. The friction points are just a very different experience.
Why don't you want to live in Bell Fountain?
So for me, can I tell you, I love the community. It is having a little bit to turn my mind off and to turn the pings and dings, being so accessible. I'm already really accessible during the day. Just being able to go to the grocery store in another town where I can actually get out of it in 15 minutes is very different. But that's a great question.
Like being the owner of the business, not calling being the
I'm in
business
Tartan
owner.
Fields.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we've got a lightning round.
Ooh,
and it's 50, and we just hit 55. So we need to do lightning round. Are you ready for this?
Let's bring it on.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go. Okay. All right. Let's do this one. I don't like that one. Let's go. Rich and bored, or employed but tired. I don't like that.
I'll just say I'm employed but tired. I like. Well,
here's all of those.
Here's the thing. Employed. Maybe the rich is the sacrifice. I'll take the money because money and energy are the same thing. But I darn well like to have passion and purpose in my work. And if it's hard, bring it on. Bring it on.
What is your source of energy? Are you a coffee guy or?
So I naturally don't need much sleep. I struggle with it, but I'm a high energy person.
You seem like
I get fuel by I just love working, and I love working with other people shoulder to shoulder that work just as hard as I do.
You're a unique person.
Yeah.
Early bird or night owl?
Both.
Both? How's that an answer?
Really?
He doesn't sleep.
I'm up by 5 a.m. and I will probably start shutting down by about
4 a.m.
No, by about midnight, 1 a.m.
Damn.
Do people admire you for your good deeds, or respect you for your power?
That's a mixed thing. I'm the most loved and hated person in my market because the people that know me probably would say it's because of the good deeds, because I don't talk about the good deeds, I just do them. But on the flip side, I have earned and achieved a tremendous amount of power. And for the people that don't know me, they probably don't think I've earned it because they don't know the story.
They never do.
They never
They only see the top and all that. They don't see
there you
everything
go.
that came up.
That person's got all the power, and they think, oh, there's been all this government subsidies that's helped him. I've taken 0 public dollars, and then the other thing that they'll assume is like, oh, he earned it from his family or whatever else. Yeah, I was in a family business, and I got a lot of coaching and mentorship, but there wasn't big multi-million-dollar checks coming. Okay.
You got a dollar building, man. I don't know.
You're buying buildings for $1. Would you be born in the future, let's say 2050, or would you be born in the past?
I think I know the answer to this one.
So I love historic preservation. I would want to go back in time because, especially if I had, some of the hustle and drive. I think the past is easy. I think the future is going to be more complex.
So one of the things, I had this restaurant idea. I'll just put it out here.
Yeah.
I've already bought the domain. Like a time hop or like a decade style restaurant where you get the experience traveling back in time through food.
Isn't that a diner?
Yeah, but like you could do
Not just a diner.
you could do like a 20s diner, you could do a 50s diner, you could do like a 60s bar with
we got
TV.
country fried steak.
We got. I just think it'd be a great idea.
So love that
Nostalgia.
We talked about just on this episode tonight, Ponderosa. Like we talked about things as we were growing up in our childhood that made a meaningful impact. There is this huge shift. McDonald's in the last 4 or 5 months introduced the adult Happy Meal. There's have you looked at their financials? They're up like 40% this quarter. Like it's insane amount of money because the adult Happy Meal is literally priced I think at like $8.99. Okay, and it's meant for adults. There's still a toy in there, but
what kind of toy are you getting with adults now?
this toy looked kind of creepy to me.
I don't know if I want to know.
But like, here's my point with that. Definitely think you're onto something because people want to show to their kids what it was like to live in the 80s. What it was like, name the decade that it was, but like, and the people want to have an Instagrammable experience in what their childhood was like. There's a reason why retro, so think of business life cycle. It kind of goes like this. There is this bump called the retro effect that literally I'm coining right now, that the cool things that were not that went out of popularity come back.
It's funny we were talking about
even
that.
style, fashion, all that stuff. It just all
mid-century modern. It is so crazy for me because I'm an 80s kid that mid-century modern is coming back because I remember in the 80s that was the style that was going out.
Yeah.
It was like all the stuff in your great-grandmother's house that you're like, who'd ever want that? It's all cool again.
You like Reebok and like Prince Athletics, all that stuff, all like the nostalgia and like the t-shirt. Yeah, it's all coming back.
The retro video games.
Yeah,
dude, that smells. What's
that? But like the retro video games, playing cards. Cool. What else? It's like anything from your child. Burnt CDs. I bet they'll make a comeback.
That took an hour to make a CD. I'm not doing that no more.
Scratch and skips because
I don't agree.
Those CD players, no matter what they said about ESPN being skipped, no, they still skipped. That was a lie.
Yeah. Book smart or street smart?
Street smart.
Street smart. Yeah, because
be able to fly or turn invisible.
Answers.
Fly.
Okay. Skydive.
Why?
Or go to space.
I've already skydived. I want to go to space.
Where do you skydive again?
Orlando, Florida.
Why? That's like a flat place, isn't it?
So it's Cape Canaveral Air Force Base. It's the highest place in North America that you can
skydive. You on a spaceship and jump off?
So you have to have oxygen. You actually go up and it was intense.
At 21,000 feet, you have to have oxygen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think about 13,000 or 12,000. I have a
so what did you wear? Did they have like a
little mask?
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Punched in the face or punched in the junk?
I'll take the face over that.
Coke or Pepsi? Trying to get a sponsorship.
Sponsorship. I prefer to drink, but all my restaurants serve Pepsi. And here's why. I like to drink Coke, and I was a big battle for me. But let me just tell you, Pepsi. The service that you get in Ohio with Pepsi and the pricing.
Because the distributors and everything. Oh, yeah.
And on your gun, the bar gun, they give you all the mixers.
All for free, pretty much.
All the free. Before, we were making runs to the grocery stores to service all our bars. I'm giving a plug for Pepsi because they've been awesome to work with.
Always strategic.
Yeah.
Always strategic, man.
Yeah.
Well, man, so if there's anything that we didn't get into today, what would you want to leave? Like, if you leave one thing from your story, your experience, and everything you're doing, what would you leave?
I really think it's what the people who are listening, find your mastermind, find a group of people that you resonate with and become friends with them. Be comfortable in building those relationships, asking for feedback, growing. Like, I think the biggest change that I've had is I am surrounded with some really cool people doing amazing things, and it makes me a better person. And then it's just like being able to give back. Like tonight, I love sharing these stories, and hopefully one of the persons listening like that helped me have the courage to do my first deal, or that helped me to maybe find my first business partner. That's how I built my business. It's how I built my success, and I hope that we can pass it along to the future people doing cool things for their towns and communities too.
I love that you're bringing small towns back. That's like the coolest thing. It's like the forgotten America. That's great.
Thanks, man.
Well, election night was yesterday, and it wasn't forgotten. So. Anyways, Jason, I appreciate you being on the Scalers Only show.
Seriously.
Guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, great show.
Cheers.
Cheers.
With some Coke, not Pepsi. Absolutely.
But if you ever get guns down here, Pepsi it is.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to the Scalers Only show with my man Jason Duff over here. Until next time, where we're going to talk about real estate, business, lifestyle, and everything in between. We'll catch you then. Peace.